Hi, my name is Jason Rowinski. I'm the Executive Director of Reaching Our City, a compassionate community development organization in the Christian tradition. And this video is the Roc Refresh Recap. We're looking back at our October 5th banquet and vision casting event and sharing it with those of you who weren't able to be there. Sorry for those of you who wanted to come and couldn't, and for those of you who didn't even know we existed but have heard about us and want to know more, this is the video for you. So we're looking forward to sharing with you all of the exciting things that are happening at Roc, Reaching Our City. And the most significant new programming that we're going to undertake as an organization since our founding in 1999. So sit back, grab some popcorn, get ready to have a little fun and hear some exciting stories, testimony, stories of renewal, stories of transformation, and where we are going as an organization. I'm excited to share this with you. You know, we've been in a global pandemic and it has definitely affected everyone's lives, and all sorts of organizations and businesses have had to adjust. Now, during this period of adjustment, we kept on with our refreshing of our building. Our building has been around for a while and it's really an old warehouse, and we've used it for so many things over the years. For a medical clinic, for legal aid, for a food pantry that serves tens of thousands of people a year, and for tutoring and mentoring and all those things. We wanted to have a building that we could share with our neighbors that communicates dignity and communicates a sense of pride and well-being. And so that just means it was time to update it. Now, we like to be good stewards of our resources, and as such, we brought in work teams all year long to help us renew this facility. And they gave of their time and their money, and they gave of their hearts to make this place a truly hospitable place that will help us do the ministries that we've already been doing, but are gonna help us with the new programming that's coming up. So I wanna say thank you to these groups that came and helped us refresh this building. Watch this video and you'll see just a sampling of the work that was done here for Roc Refresh.
And this is your life. Are you who you wanna be? This is your life. Are you who you wanna be? This is your life. Is it everything you dreamed that it would be when the world was younger and you had everything to lose? Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. This is your life. Are you who you wanna be? This is your life. Are you who you wanna be?
Now you're going to hear the story of a young man named Willie who came to us through our career navigation program, where we help people figure out what they're good at and how they might not only find employment, but long-term employment in a job that they love. And Willie's story is an amazing story of transformation, but it also leads us into the further development of us helping people with our Roc Lift, the Leadership Institute for Tomorrow.
Thank you Thank you for giving that opportunity to my son to work and he feel a better person every day. Thank you all the person around him to love my son. All the time when he coming to work, he's coming happy. He's coming happy because he say he love help the people. He improved a lot because right now have the opportunity to work and feel better person every day. God sent the kids, for what I'm understand now, why the God sent the kids with a special condition, sent for touch my heart, touch your heart. This is the best gift in my life. The special kids, he need more opportunities. Because sometimes the door is closed, nobody open the door for these kids. Now is the opportunity to open completely all the doors for these kids. The kids can feel I'm a human, I'm a person. The people love me. I have only one God in the world. And the God say, love, love, love the people. It's the best gift in the world. Thank you again. All the people love my son.
One of the things that I've learned in life is that I didn't get where I am without a strong community, without people to lift me up and see something in me that I didn't see in myself and point that out to me. Roc Lift, Leadership Institute for Tomorrow, is all about that kind of support. When people get involved in trying to find a job or trying to get more training, they can do it sometimes because they have the support. Sometimes they do it through a program. But even through programs, even where we have programs established and set for people to accomplish those goals, people fall through the gaps. Because there are gaps in programs, there are gaps in the system. Those gaps are the gaps where community is lacking. Roc Lift is the place where we will offer a community for accountability and for cheering, for communication, and for training of those who are looking to better themselves in a career, professionally, or as they continue to get trained to go into a career. The story of Willie is one of those, where the resources were there, but they simply didn't know where to go, what to do. Roc Lift will work as a network to connect those people who are seeking for empowerment in their own lives, to take the next step forward and to know where to find the help they need, and to know that they have a community that cares for them, that listens to them, and that compels them to take the next step and the right step. That's what Roc Lift does. That's what we're all about. Community, compelling community towards the future.
name's Melissa, and I'm the office administrator here at Reaching Our City. But I'm also a professional dancer. I performed all over the world, from Radio City Music Hall to LA, danced on cruise ships for a long time.
I am Katie Williamson. I am 13 years old and I am a contemporary dancer. I've been coming to Roc for since I was like 10 years old. I was in 3rd grade, I believe. And I come here for chapel, or I work at the food pantry for volunteering hours, or just to help with community life. I learned how to dance by watching TikToks and YouTube and tutorials, and I basically just learned from there.
And that just sparked this beautiful mentorship, friendship, partnership. And so I helped her choreograph a solo for a dance competition that she was doing, and it blossomed from there.
The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes and disappear. This beautiful life, what is it for? To learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer.
Probably all the funny times we had and all the mess ups and how we just laugh about it. It'll be so funny, but then it's fun at the same time because I still got the routine. But we also have fun, which is the good thing about it.
I think a big joy for me in what we've got going on has honestly been the fact that I have such a fun relationship with this young lady, and it's not just because we built a program or we have a certain structural dance studio that we have, but that is just really just the joy of movement, the joy of dance, the joy of dancing with someone else and sharing that love, and that feels really good.
If I were to say I had to look forward to something, I would just look forward to, inspiring other people to dance and do what I do and feel how I felt. And my goal, I would say, will probably be, to do it for not only me, but other people, to take it far. So maybe get a scholarship or something. Yeah.
And moving forward with what we're doing here at Roc, we are hoping to create more opportunities like what Katie and I have, a mentorship, and bringing people together no matter what it is, whether it's dance, whether it's computers, whether it's a food pantry. That's what we want to do.
Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer.
We chose the theme refresh because of what the word actually means. It means to give strength or energy to something or to reinvigorate it. Now, if you search Google for things people find refreshing, here's a few examples of what they would say. A cool glass of iced tea, the sound of rushing water, walking barefoot in the grass, warm laundry from the dryer, driving in a car with the top down, diving into a wave, an afternoon nap, a day at the spa. Those are some refreshing things, aren't they? How many of you right now said, I would like one of those refreshing things? And it's okay that you do. I do. In fact, that's the point we're trying to make, that it's natural to long for refreshing, because sometimes things do get stagnant and things do get dry, and we need refreshing. It's very human. We see this theme in the scriptures, this longing for refreshing in Isaiah 44:3, which says, I will pour my water on the thirsty land, streams on the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. Nonprofit, compassionate community building, while deeply important and critical work, is at times challenging, complicated, and consuming. Over time, like humans, nonprofits need a cool glass of iced tea or some warm laundry for our mission. The thing about refreshings is they're not usually brand new things, as if we're replacing everything that came before because it's no longer good. Refreshing really comes from with the Latin prefix re, which means again and again, to indicate repetition or going back to something so that you can move forward. So some of our favorite words start with this prefix: renew, reinvigorate, regenerate, refurbish, return, restore, replenish, revive, refresh. Over the years, reaching our city has been many things: a medical clinic, legal aid, food pantry, resale shop, tutoring, mentoring center, women's empowerment and encouragement, and the list goes on and on and on. And we will continue to be these things. We'll refresh those programs, but they're at our core. But really, deep down at our core, we are a compassionate community development organization that ministers to the marginalized, the underprivileged, the downtrodden, and the forgotten. And there's a lot of those people in our world. Our refreshing begins by getting back to our core identity and then moving forward from there, again and again and again. As the world collectively waited and paused with bated breath, waiting to breathe fresh air coming out of this pandemic, we paused, took a deep breath of fresh air, and began refreshing our building, as you saw earlier. Not for ourselves, but because we wanted to be excellent in everything that we did, and even providing facilities so we could better care for our neighbors. But we also realized it was time for something new. Not entirely new and different, but a new direction. Something that was connected to our core of ministry to the marginalized that will refresh our entire organization. We're going to begin in 2022 a significant new outreach program to adults with developmental disabilities, senior adults who cannot care for themselves, and caregivers, who are often among the most forgotten people in that equation. The Fountain Club is going to be a self-pay 10 to 2, a couple days a week programming so that people who are not ready for the next steps have a place for community, and a place where they're cared for, and a place where their caregivers can feel safe and good about leaving them for a few hours a week, so that those folks get the care they need and the caregivers get the respite that they are required so that they can continue to do what they do. The next step of that is the Wellspring Adult Day Community that we're beginning. Now, this is your traditional 8 to 5 care for adults who really cannot care for themselves and need specialized care and attention while their caregivers generally work. And we're going to begin that as well. And finally, we're going to have a number of caregiver support groups and opportunities so that those people who feel the pressure of trying to work and raise kids and care for parents, or navigate challenging social support program situations and everything, they don't feel like they're alone, and they can have some time to be refreshed themselves. Now, this refreshing is a reconnection to some of my earliest days as a Christian from my youth ministry time. In my youth group, we had a young adult woman. Actually, her name was Chrissy, and she had Down syndrome, but she was one of us. Even when I was a 13-year-old, I remember feeling like she was my sister, and we did things to care for Chrissy and went out of our ways to do things that youth groups didn't normally do, and we did everything we could to empower her to be everything that she was capable of being in this world. My youth group also went monthly to a retirement home, and we knocked on the doors of the residents there to talk with them and ask them how they were doing and to pray for them, and also to invite them to a youth-led chapel service. And those two things significantly shaped who I am as a minister today and as a Christian today. But it's not just about me and my story. It's just one of the ways that God has been bringing people together to point us in the direction of this refreshing new vision. The person I want you to hear from now is Sharon West, who God has laid the significant vision of being the director for this new work on her heart. And I want you to hear why she got here, how she's proceeding, and what that means for all of us here at Reaching Our City.
God called me to work with senior adults, and I told him no. I wasn't interested. I was comfortable in my life, and he kind of pointed out to me that that was the problem. I finally said yes, and my husband and I moved back to Oklahoma. We were looking for a church. We found Roc Church. We fell in love. I went back to SNU. I went to school, and I entered the Family Studies and Gerontology program. And about a year ago, I had to write a paper on elder abuse. And I started to do the research, and what I was reading just really alarmed me. I had always assumed, like I'm sure several of you, that a lot of the elder abuse takes place in the nursing homes. I found out that that was false. The majority of the abuse takes place in homes by informal caregivers, also known as family members. And most of the abuse is not intentional, but these caregivers are stressed to the max, and unfortunately they reach a breaking point. I also learned that by the year 2035, adults 65 and over will outnumber children under the age of 18 for the first time in the history of the United States. Yet, in Oklahoma County, there are over 400 child care centers and only 15 for adults. Yet, I know for sure that 2 of those have closed since the beginning of the pandemic. Those numbers scare me because I know that the senior adults need our help. I've worked with them, I've spent time with them, and I've listened to them say that they feel like their lives no longer have purpose or any kind of value. They're struggling to find meaning. I've spent time doing my practicum in an adult day center, and I fell in love with the disabled adults, the ones who graduate high school and there's nothing left for them to do. Where do they go? What do they do? What do we have planned for them? In Oklahoma, we also have a problem with our developmentally disabled. There's a 13-year waiting list to receive services. So if you're fortunate enough to know that you can apply for services at the age of 3 and your parents apply for that help, great, you receive it when you're 16. But if they're like so many Oklahomans and they don't know, then it could be decades before they receive any kind of assistance to get respite care that's so desperately needed. I've met many caregivers. One story, I met a lady and she was looking at an adult day center for her mother. She was a single woman who was an only child, and her mom had to move in with her, and she was looking for care for her mom. She thought she was going to have to place her mom in a nursing home because she needed to continue to work, and that thought terrified her. And then she found out about adult day services. The story, though, that I think really touched my heart was the story of a caregiver who told me what it felt like. She said that she felt like she was in the middle of a forest and it kept getting darker and darker. She was crying out for help, but no one was listening. No one was coming. No one could hear her. And she was uncertain if she'd ever find help. She was at the lowest point of her life and felt completely helpless. Well, to my senior adults, to my developmentally disabled adults and caregivers, we hear you and help is on the way.
In Scripture, one of the earliest names for God is El Rohi, which means the God who sees me. You see, God is personally involved in our world, and God sees and acts to make this world right. But oftentimes that means he does it through his people. The first thing that we heard in Scripture named as not good after everything that was created as good is that it was not good for man to be alone. And we've seen over the last 18 months or so what isolation does to people during this pandemic and how we need community, and we're created for community. And without each other, we're not better. Now imagine being a part of a group of people who are unseen, and that is their daily existence, not just something that happens occasionally, as in during the pandemic. Being unseen makes us feel lost. But there's perhaps nothing as refreshing as being seen, being known, being cared for, being heard, or being loved. That makes us feel found. So I want you to hear the words from this song and really internalize them and think about what it means to truly be found.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear, like you could fall, no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. When you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, and you'll reach up and rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. There's a place where we don't have to wanting to take you home, take you home. Even when the darkness crashing through, and He is ready to carry you. If you're broken on the ground, you will be found. Let the sun come streaming in, to reach up and to rise again. If you let go around, you will be found. You will be found. Out in the shadows, the morning is breaking and all is new. All is through. The shading of the empty. Suddenly I see that all is new. All is new. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone.